PSVR 2 is launching next February, which will cost a whopping £529.99, which is a little bit on the pricey side if you don't quite own a PlayStation 5 yet, because that's the only way you can actually use this VR headset. So you're going to want to get yourself a good old PS5 if you're wanting to get involved in the PSVR 2, which could mean you're spending up to £1,000. Now, it's a standalone software. It's got standalone software titles, including Horizon Call of the Mountain. So there's bits and bobs going on with this as well. And with the $529.99, you do get included a PSVR 2 headset, PSVR 2 Sense controllers, and stereo headphones. So you do get your nice little accessories in that as well. Pre-orders will begin on November the 15th, and players may begin to register for pre-orders starting from today. So that is very exciting if you're looking to get your hands on a PSVR 2. I'm actually now joined in the studio with Henry Stockdale, who is a VR journalist, and I would love to get your take on this, Henry. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you, Louise?
Good, I'm really good, thank you. So tell us a little bit about this announcement with the PSVR 2. I mean, what are your thoughts on this so far?
So I think it's all quite exciting. As you said, it is looking a bit pricey, especially when you consider it's costing more than an actual PS5 console.
Yes.
However, with the 11 games they announced alongside it as well, I think well, honestly we're in for a fantastic time with PSVR 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how do you think this differs from the PSVR, the original?
So there's quite a lot of changes. Sony has said it will offer, I believe, 4K resolution at 120 hertz, which is fantastic. You definitely don't want a choppy frame rate when you've got a headset on.
Absolutely not.
No, absolutely. You've got a new tracking system, which will be a lot easier than just pointing a move controller at a PlayStation camera.
Yeah.
It's a lot more responsive, and you've also got like the haptic feedback, like you do in the DualSense controller. So that will be quite good, especially when it comes to like lifting objects, things like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
So there's
sounds
quite a
like
lot
a
here.
smooth ride, absolutely. Because I think when the VR first came out, people did complain that it made them feel a bit sick in it, because it's kind of like getting yourself in that reality, and then you take it off, and then it's
Oh
like,
yes.
oh my goodness,
Yeah.
me. Adjusting back to real life is a different thing. But do you think the cost might put people off maybe wanting to purchase one of these?
I think for some it will, especially when you've got, it's a time with rising energy prices, high inflation, and a lot of people, I think they will struggle to justify that
Yeah.
against like a Quest 2. But
Yes.
you're also getting a lot more for, your money here than you would from competitors like that.
Yeah, well, how do you think it kind of differs with this PSVR 2 compared to like Oculus Quest and different devices like that?
Well, in terms of the others, I think it won't be quite as easy to set up as a Quest because obviously that's being a standalone VR headset, so you can just literally put it on and play. Yeah, but with the one cable setup, it'll be a lot easier than the original PSVR. And because a lot of the like PC-based ones use external sensors, you're not messing around with your room, trying to put them everywhere,
That's
getting the
yeah,
right.
nightmare.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
So yeah, I
definitely.
think there's a few key differences, but I think the biggest one will be Sony's library because they have, as far as exclusives go, it's very hard to top them on this, like with Horizon, as you mentioned earlier.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's a big selling point is if you know you're going to be immersed into these games. And I think it completely takes you into a different realm when you are immersed into these games, which I think is very exciting. And I think it's about time, really, because we've had the PS5 and I think it's the next step, don't you?
Yes, I do. I think we've been ready for this for a long time. You can still use like the original PSVR on the PS5, but to have that real next generation step, it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of people are getting on board, actually, Henry, because Apple is reportedly hiring game developers for its new VR push. And it's been a long time that claim that Apple have been preparing its own headset. And Apple has reportedly hired the co-founders of a mixed reality mobile studio as it continues to work its virtual reality and augmented reality plans, which I think it's interesting to see Apple jumping on the bandwagon as well. They've got a studio in the mix of them called Playdio, who have actually closed the studio now, but they're working with Apple to kind of get involved with this new VR push, which is quite exciting. So how do you think about Apple getting involved in this?
I think it's going to be very interesting because when it comes to, again, like big players, you can't really beat them on this. However, I've seen it's going to be expensive from what I've seen.
Yeah.
The reports were saying before around, I think it was £2,400.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and apparently it will have, at least according to reports, like 8K resolution, eye tracking, things like that. But that's, if you're aiming for that high market, you are going to struggle.
Oh,
So it'll be very
absolutely.
interesting to see. Yeah.
I think that's it, and I think it's difficult to jump on as well when you're kind of jumping on to like having other brands coming in and other competitors coming in, and it's how to make yours different really, and it's interesting to see how Apple actually go about making this their own really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've already seen them like with the initiatives like Apple Arcade, and obviously,
Mm.
that's a lot easier to break into when most people have your phone.
Oh yes.
But yeah, to see what they do in this space, I'm very interested to see what they announce next year. Hopefully next year.
Absolutely. And you're going to get involved, Henry? You're going to have your VR headset on, do you think?
Oh, that's. I'll wait. I'll wait to see the official reveal first before I
Yeah.
commit to that.
Play it cautiously. I like that. You don't know what you're getting yet, so you got to play it cautiously. Brilliant.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So I think the games on PSVR and in general and kind of what's coming out, do you think these titles are kind of long awaited and kind of people have been kind of gagging for some new games?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of what we've seen so far seems to be ports from like the Quest. Like we've got Star Wars: Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. That'd be
Yes.
interesting. We've got the new Ghostbusters game, which got properly revealed the other day. Yeah, and then we've got. I think in terms of the first party exclusive, the only other thing we've got on the horizon at the moment is Firewall Ultra, which is a tactical shooter. So I'm curious to see what else Sony have in the bag. In terms of launch titles, I'm not sure if they have much more. But then we've also got things like Resident Evil
Yes.
Village, which will be supported. So that's going to be utterly terrifying.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. Yeah, I don't know
yeah.
how people can play Resident Evil on VR or any horror game. I mean, I've tried it once, Henry, and it scarred me for life.
So yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. God, I think I tried 7 at the time. I know Remake is getting VR support, so that's gonna be very interesting to see how they handle it. Yeah, I'm excited, but also terrified
And
deep
that's
down.
it. Yeah, absolutely. Give it a go. I mean, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, hopefully the cost doesn't put people off too much because obviously that is the big thing that we're kind of sitting with at the moment. But
Of
Henry,
course.
thank you so much for joining me as well. It's been great to have you and your input into this. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, and pleasure to be here, Louisa.
Thank you very much. Thank you.